What's going on, everybody? This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Barossa Transport. Barossa Transport offers comprehensive services for all your transportation and property needs, including vehicle transport, heavy equipment hauling, property cleanup, all sorts of stuff like that. Their dedicated team ensures reliable and efficient service, providing custom solutions tailored to your specific project requirements. Call Barossa Transport now at 707-358-2859 for a free quote. Tell them your boys from Like It or Not sent you.
All right, guys, I got to tell you about our good friend Kyle Thompson with Thompson Construction. Let me tell you, if you need some excavating, grading, general engineering contractor based out of Ukiah, California, and they do it all, specializing especially in septic system installation and repairs, which, trust me, is hard to find. So if you're having any kind of septic issues, this is the company you need. Also, repairs with land and site development for residential, commercial, agricultural, pond construction and lining, retaining wall construction, hillside drainings, drainage systems, underground utilities, water, gas, sewer, all of that stuff. Electrical, they can do it. They'll repair it, install it, whatever you need. They're OQ certified for PG&E excavation and backfill. You want a swimming pool dug? They could do that. I mean, it goes on and on. Truck servicing, defensible space for fire prevention. So Thompson Construction, look, they love what they do, and they take the utmost pride in their work and customer satisfaction, which is hard to find these days. So they put a great attention to detail. No job is too big or too small. So call Thompson Construction today at 707-391-7679.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Mystic Bodywork. Woo! Mystic Bodywork offers an array of treatments and therapies for the body and soul.
Yes.
Massage, red light therapy, readings, facials, cuppings, they do it all. They're located right here in Ukiah. They have a new holistic wellness center that they just opened called The Well, and they provide a nurturing space for personal growth and spiritual exploration.
Nice.
Yeah, they have a bunch of classes coming up. Upcoming classes include a psychic medium, a seasonal detox, herbal cleanse, astrology and tarot readings. Also, they do vinyasa, yoga, breath work circles,
little upward
classes, monthly full moon sound journeys, and Reikis.
Like it. Little Reiki healing is always good for the soul.
Yeah, this is the place that Drew needs to go, and you need to go there also. You can check out all that they have available at mysticbodywork.com, or you can call to schedule an appointment today at 707-380-4742.
Also, OG sponsor, The Original, has been helping us for a long time. Got to give a big thanks to the Thirsty Axe. You can check them out on thirstyaxe.com. Visit that site for all the cool stuff they got going on. They do a fun trivia night. They do karaoke. You can throw axes at zombies, play pool, cocktails, food, live performance, music. They got it all. So if you're ever wondering what to do on a rather uneventful Friday night in Ukiah, maybe Saturday or any day of the week for that matter, go down to the Thirsty Axe. Tell them the boys that Like It or Not sent you down there. Have a good time and have a drink on us.
This episode is also sponsored by Pure Blends Barbershop. Woo! Voted for 3 years in a row as the best barbershop in Lake and Mendocino counties.
Wow, that's
you know how big our counties are? Lake and Mendocino, that's a lot of counties. You know how many barbershops there are?
Lots.
A lot. You know how many won 3 years in a row best barbershop?
Just one,
and that's Pure Blends, ladies and gentlemen. Drew and I both go down there and get our hairs trimmed up, our beards trimmed up, and our mustaches waxed. And we want you to do the same thing because you got to look good, and Pure Blends is the place where you go to make that happen. But you can't just show up.
Yeah.
You got to give them a call. Call to book an appointment right now, 707-472-6097. Tell them your boys from Like It or Not sent you, and they'll cut your ear hairs for free.
Yeah, and Lord knows I need it. DC Customs. Love these guys. They do such cool work. You got to check out some of the rides they have put up on their Instagram. I mean, they're next level, suited and booted from the floor to the ceiling. So whatever you're looking to do, whether you just want to lie next to bed, get some new wheels, or customize any kind of ride up or down, slam it or lift it, DC Customs has your back. You can check them out at dccustoms.net or give them a call at 707-463-2227.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for you to step up your nutrition game. And the way to do that is by getting some prepped meals by Macro Meals by Jess.
Yum.
Delicious, folks. Let me tell you what. I've been a client of hers for a while now, and I've lost weight. I've felt more nutritious. And
You look more nutritious.
well, thank you, Drew. I appreciate that.
Tiger King's wearing off on me.
The Macro Meals by Jess is a weekly meal prep based in Mendocino and Sonoma counties. They do macronutrient-based meals by a health and fitness lover and awesome friend of the show, Jess. And they are offering you two free meals if you order 10 and one free meal if you order 5 for our Like It or Not listeners. So make sure to place your orders. They have delicious, awesome new menus every week, and you can check all that stuff out on Instagram at macromeals_by _Jess JESS. Go check her out, give her a follow, give her a like, and place some orders because it's delicious and it's awesome and it's healthy. My name is Carter Lane.
I'm Drew Nicolls.
Welcome to the show. Oh my god. I think you have a problem, bro.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh my goodness. Oh man.
And we are live.
Live and direct. As if one nickel wasn't enough. We got two.
We got a double nickel in the house.
Oh. What's up, Joey?
Oh, not much.
This is my
So,
this
yeah.
is my little brother Joey.
What was it like growing up with this fucking guy?
You know what it was like.
I don't know shit, dude. That's why you're here. I wanted to talk about it.
We all grew up together. You are on due to a couple of different people suggesting that I should have you on. And I'm like, of course, we got to have you on to talk about all kinds of fun things that are exciting. But yeah, man, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing good. A little bit nervous. First podcast.
We got a little bottle of whiskey for you, so if you get too nervous, just take
You should just have a
sip.
shot now and then one at the end.
Yeah, there
That'll
you
be
go.
fine.
Yeah.
You'll totally be all right.
I brought water. Thank you, Carter.
Okay. Okay, dude. Jeez.
No, but I appreciate you coming on, dude, because it's fun to chit chat. And you know, I don't say it enough, but I know I tortured you a lot growing up and all that stuff.
Both of you guys did. Just everybody who's listening right now.
This is gonna get
Okay, and thanks
all
for
right.
coming on
Yeah,
the show.
and then thanks, Joey, for coming on.
They
See you
they
soon.
seem real sweet and nice, you know, but yeah, they have a dark side.
I don't think people think we seem that sweet.
Did I torture you that much?
Nah, you guys are cool. It's all good. It was all in good fun. I played a lot. I could have ran and hid, but I mean, it was a good time.
We started getting you beer towards the end, right?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So
See?
once we started being able to drive and get beer, then it went from like torturing to cool. But no, but I'm glad you came on, man, because honestly, you're one of my favorite people, and I really love you, and I'm glad you came on to chat a little bit with us about all things nickel. So not to start it all mushy, but you know, I just
It's true. You're one of my favorite people too, Drew.
oh, thanks, dude. All right, so we got that out of the way now.
Okay.
Carter, you're like a brother to me.
Aw, thanks, dude. You're like a little brother to me too.
Oh, thanks.
So you're
I don't know what that's like really though, because I'm an only child.
you're an only child,
Yeah.
right?
Never had one of these.
Yeah, it's kind
Or
of.
one of these.
Do you miss it? Do you think? Well, how would you miss it if you never
don't know.
But I mean, like, do you
Good question, Drew.
think- is it something you wish you would have had?
There was points where I wish I would have had that, but then I got like stepbrothers and they came for like a month every summer and I was like, fuck no, I don't want any siblings.
Why?
Because that was the worst month of the year.
Why? It wasn't the
Because I had to
best.
share all my shit, dude, and I couldn't pick out the movies I wanted to pick out when we went to new release, and like I just had to share everything, and it's fucking dumb. I had to share my room. Like I went from being an only child for 11 months and then for a month straight having 2 brothers.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
So now imagine that, but your whole life being like that. All the
Well,
time.
that would be different because I wouldn't know what the
wouldn't have
other
it all.
11 months was.
Yeah, having a little brother is cool because, you know, part of it is like, yeah, you got to share your stuff and, you know, they can be kind of like pestering. But the other thing is like you kind of have like a little like servant friend that you could trick into doing stuff for you for a long time.
Drew, give me a glass of water. I won't beat you up.
Yeah, I would be like, hey, Joey, if I want him to go away, I'd be like, hey, Joey, you like candy? And he'd be like, yeah. Right? And I'd be like, there's a lot of candy under my bed. Go get it. And he'd be like, okay. And then he would run away. Just be gone for... You see that look?
Yes, dude. Hey, on behalf of him, I'm sorry, dude, that you had
it's
to
all
grow
good.
up with Drew because I spend a lot of time with him too, you know, on the road and throughout childhood and things like that. And he can be very torturous. He's really good at like getting getting under your skin.
Well, after all the torture, like I never felt like there was hate behind it. It was more just a
there you go.
mechanism of entertainment or something.
That's true.
you know?
I'd just
Like,
be bored. Be like, hey, let's try. You want to play pro wrestling in the pool?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to beat you up for
How about when you guys got the paintball guns?
Oh,
But that kind of... Didn't that kind of even the playing field because at least you had a gun?
no, because remember that one time where you were like, all right, I'll count to 10 and run, and after 10 you could shoot at me, and you were way out there. I didn't get you, and then it was my turn. It was like 1, 2, 10.
I watched Home Alone way too much, dude. You got 3 steps, and I was like,
Miss Turner was like, what happened to your neck? The next day at school.
dude, do you remember when the kid from St. Mary's came over and we were playing paintball and you shot him in the eye?
Yeah, that was a good shot, wasn't it?
Dude, didn't he peek his head out of the barn or peek his eye out of the little hole in the barn and you shot his eye?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but he took his mask off to peek through the hole.
yeah, the one rule of paintball
Well, hell.
is don't take your mask off no matter what. So sure enough, he takes his mask off to look through the handle in the door, and Joey sailed a paintball right through it at the same time. Crack.
Dude, you know how bad that has to fucking hurt?
Dude, the colored part of the kid's eye turned red. Not his whole eye, just the colored part like turned red. And he had
Is that what color the paint was?
No, it was blood in his iris.
After that, he got a full-on cataract. Like his eye for the next month or two became totally white, and then he had it removed and had a fake lens put on.
And he had to
Yeah, he had a surgery.
and he had to lay in bed for like, dude, like 3 months.
Did you guys
And
go visit him?
No, his parents wouldn't let him see us anymore.
I mean, he was a pretty good sport, though.
Yeah, he was cool about it. He knew he messed up, but we felt terrible. But like, dude, he had to lay in bed and he
my
couldn't move his eye for like 3 months. So he couldn't like read. He couldn't watch TV. He just like laid in bed and stared at the ceiling for like 3 months.
That sounds like a nightmare, dude.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, what are you gonna
That's what you get for taking your fucking mask off, dork.
Yeah, rule number 1. Oh, dude, I remember doing so many things I probably shouldn't have when our parents were at work.
How about when you guys had the teepee?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those were the good days.
Yeah.
And the New Year's Eve party, remember?
Yeah.
We had the walkie-talkies.
Yeah,
You were out there with a bottle of Jose Cuervo.
Yeah, I don't remember too much of that.
Yeah,
That was a quick night for old Cardi.
those were the days. Huh?
That was the night I slept in your bed.
Oh, dude, the day I never could forgive you for.
And then how about when we rolled the truck?
Yeah, all that stuff, man. It was all-
You were along for all of it, Joe.
I sure was.
yeah, we crashed the truck, and you were in the bottom when
Well, I didn't think I was going to fall out. I was in the, like, crammed behind the seat. And then as soon as it went upside down, I hit my head on the roof.
yeah,
But, it's good I learned that lesson early on in life.
yeah, don't be a dumbass.
Dude,
And I jumped out of that car so fast, dude. Carter rolled this thing. So
Drew was...
we went, just to give a little context, we went to get some beer. I don't know how we were able to even buy beer, but we could. I think you had a fake ID. We go get
Let's
beer.
not say too much about that stuff.
We go, okay, scratch that. We go get it, come back, and Carter's like, oh, let's let's go spin some donuts in the field because we had this like pasture. And I remember you pulling off, going about 25 miles an hour, and then just yanking the wheel, and the car just.
Oh,
going,
well, we spun around a couple times, and I'm like, one more. And the one more fucking dumped it onto the roof. And then, like, the radio's playing, you know, and it's just so disorienting when you do that.
Yeah.
And then, like, I remember, like, being like, what the fuck? And the dust was, like, all in the car. And all of a sudden, I hear Drew's voice from outside be like, hey, guys, get the fuck out of there. I'm like,
I smell gas.
Did it eject you? How the fuck did you get out already?
Dude.
I was like, first things first, we got to get rid of the beer and Joey. And then we'll fucking figure out what to do.
Yeah, Joey, go get in bed and just pretend you've been there all night.
Yeah. Joey, get the fuck out of here. Let's ditch the beer. And
I think if mom listened to this day, she probably doesn't know you were in that car.
no,
Yeah, maybe not.
we told him. I told him.
I remember
Yeah,
your
I had
friend
made
Corey,
amends.
who you hadn't seen in a long time, just one night hung out with you guys. And he was in the front seat, and he got like glass smashed into his face, and his head was bleeding. And
Yeah.
we never saw him again.
That happened to a few friends.
Corey was like, is this what you guys do all the time?
Oh, hell yeah. Ain't it great? Remember,
Buckle up, Buttercup.
by the way, grab those broken beer bottles. We got to hide the evidence. My mom's going to be pissed.
Yeah, Corey didn't hang out with us again. There was that guy that was with us that got pulled over with you with the gun and the drugs and the money and all that stuff.
We got to talk about something else.
That guy that we never saw again either.
He was in the car that night?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
yeah, you do. The engineer guy from Prairie Sun,
Oh, yeah.
Jeff from Minnesota or wherever the fuck he was from.
He wasn't in the night we crashed the car with Joey.
No, he was in the night that you almost got arrested.
Yeah. I was like, don't worry, I'll take the rap.
The guy came out and he saw the cop was like, whose Ruger is this? This kid that was green as fuck was like, what's a Ruger? We're like, it's a fucking pistol, guy. Just shut the fuck up right now and don't say
Hey,
another
dude,
word.
that's a gun, all right? I know you're from Kentucky.
Never saw him.
Yeah, those were good times, man.
Never saw that girl we gave the pop brownies to.
Yeah, I remember when you flipped the car and it was stuck in the driveway and I was in the house. I was just like, man, I hope mom doesn't wake up and see what's going on. Because if we can get your truck out of here before mom wakes up, we're good.
Yeah.
Even though there was fucking,
Crop circles.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Dude, when a UFO crashes in the field, you can't just hide the evidence by moving the UFO. So she wakes up, dude, and she goes to the kitchen counter that looked right out of the field.
The one that I
sink,
peed in?
the kitchen sink, to get some water. Never forget, I'm standing there like this, like,
You're in the house?
yeah.
And I'm out there trying to get the truck out?
Yeah, I think you called your uncle or whatever, right? And I'm like in the house hoping my mom doesn't notice. She goes and gets a drink of water. Looks outside. And I remember her just be like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Drew, what's going on? Drew, what's going on in the field? What do you say, you know? Well, Carter wrecked his truck. What? Again?
Oh, that was the second one. That's right.
Did he sink in the river? The fuck? Where's your brother? He's in bed.
Again.
Anyway.
Yeah, I lost 2 trucks to that property.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah. I'm glad you're live, Joe.
I'm glad to be live.
Yeah,
I'm glad
nice.
you guys are live too.
Yeah.
No, we had good
That's
times,
cool.
dude. For the most part, it was all good. We had a good childhood. And we still here, dude. You still live in Ukiah. I still live in Ukiah.
You guys hang out a lot?
Well, what do you say? I mean, a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
you know, I mean, we go through moments where I'm out of town or busy, and you're out of town or busy, and then we hang out a lot for months. And
Yeah, we hang out, go to his house for barbecues, or he'll bring the girls over. His daughters, that is. Taken out of context, that could be a fucked up clip. Bring the girls over, huh?
You're a father, dude.
Yeah.
yeah,
How did that change you?
Oh man, you do a lot of growing up real quick, but I feel like, from the moment you're gonna have a kid to the moment you have the kid to the moment they're 1-2 years old, like you just always kind of prepared for the next step. So kind of happens naturally, but a lot of giving and sacrifice, good times, bad times.
What's the best thing about being a dad, you think?
Seeing your kids experience things, that you did and loved, and watch them love it.
And what's the worst thing about being a dad?
Not being able to have a conversation, look at your phone, watch the TV, leave anything out.
They are kind of like wild raccoons, dude.
It gets better, dude.
They just like rummage through everything.
Hazel's ordering things online now and like turning on the Peloton. And it's like, oh no.
Oh, wow. How old is she?
She's
3?
5.
5? Holy cow. And how old is Goldie?
3. Almost 3.
Wow. 5 and 3. Yeah, that's a...
Think you'll have more?
I think so. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Have 5, Why
That'd
not?
be cool.
But, it's cool that we all still live in the same town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know about this town, but we're still here, right?
We must like it.
Well, I went a lot of places, in my earlier years, and I always just kind of found myself wanting to come back here,
Yeah. What do you think about Ukiah? You think it's...
I think it's a great town.
You think you'll be here your whole life?
I think so. I mean, I'll definitely always have roots here and always want to come back here, whether or not I have a house in Tahoe or Costa Rica or something.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it.
But I feel like during COVID, everybody was like, wow, this place is awesome. And now all the tech guys are wanting to move here because we got good internet. And I mean, this town is awesome, and you look at, the Bay Area and it's like, I don't know if I could handle that.
No, I definitely don't want to live in the Bay Area. But I just think California in general sometimes is kind of like, it's a little bit much for me. It's getting to be a little bit much for me. Did you see Gavin Newsom on Bill Maher's show?
No.
Talking? No. Oh, my God. We should pull up some clips of that. He's just so...
Slimy?
Yeah.
Grimy?
He's just kind of like a weirdo, dude. I just don't know about the guy. He's like all spray tanned and I don't know.
Yeah, it just seems fake.
Yeah.
He looks like the bad guy on that movie, The Mask, kind of.
He was on Bill Maher.
Yeah.
This is going to be Fox, but I don't know if you can find clips of it or not. But
I just saw that Trump posted something, I think it was today, that said that
John Fetterman
said that Kid Rock hit up Trump and said, "Hey, will you please meet with Bill Maher?" And Trump was like, "I don't know about this, but he's doing a favor to Chris Rock and he's going to meet
Kid Rock.
Kid Rock, yeah, not Chris Rock."
Both skinny. But not the same guy.
Yeah, not the same. Kid Rock, that guy.
Yeah, I don't know. This was just like so weird. But
was in the news today. He said, if you're talking about the...
will people be able to hear it? You got to bring your microphone.
Together, we're going to be a permanent minority.
I agree.
And I see you're doing something about it. I applaud it. I think it's great. You've got this podcast. You're talking to people.
Fake.
It's amazing to me
Look at him.
that even that is controversial to some people. They call it platforming. If you talk to someone you don't agree with.
Yeah.
I feel like this country is divided into owners and healers. People think you can own the other side.
Yeah, well,
Gavin Newsom owned DeSantis.
Yeah.
DeSantis destroyed Gavin Newsom. Or people who want to talk and heal. And I feel like the next president's going to be, at least if it comes from this party, the Democratic Party, someone who wants to talk and heal. And I feel like you're doing it.
Yeah, who's that going to be? This guy? All right, that's enough. You know what I mean? It's just, and it goes on and on. But he does start grilling him a little bit, which is good. About how ridiculous it is that, Bill Maher's been trying to get just solar panels on his house in LA, and it's taken 4 years. And he starts grilling him on how basically they made it against the law for teachers to tell the parents if the kids wanted, transition genders and all this weird stuff. And he just starts talking all this like slimy stuff. And like, for me, it's just kind of like, it's hard living in a place where that's like what we're dealing with all the time, you know. And I don't want to like keep beating the same horse, but it's
Well,
just
to me,
like,
he just is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
right.
Just the perfect example of that. And I think the podcast is that. Totally.
Yeah, yeah, pretty weird, man. I don't know. So that's where for me, I'm like, man, like I would like to live somewhere else besides here, but then I got my family and my friends, and you know, some businesses going on, so it kind of keeps me here.
Yeah.
Trying to make this place better. It's like
You could be like your parents and have a place somewhere else and go there for a while and then come back. You went to visit Florida just recently, right?
yeah, I did. I loved it, man. Florida,
Really?
I could see myself there. I like Florida. It's cool.
I've never been.
I would like to live on the ocean.
I want to go. Have you been to Florida?
I have.
You like it?
You know, I haven't seen too much. I've been to Key West and Disneyland or Disney World when I was a kid, but I haven't seen where my parents are.
Yeah, it's nice. You're gonna have to go check it out. I think your daughters would love it, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of weird.
So where's the pirate flag that you grabbed?
So that's in St. Augustine, which is northeast Florida, and it had a pirates museum, which was pretty cool. Yeah, have you been there?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
The jail too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't make it into the jail. I only had time for one museum, but that's next on my list when I go.
Super cool.
You didn't grab that flag for us?
Dude, it was in glass, but
Excuses,
I
bro.
should have
Come
been a
on.
real fucking pirate. Come on.
Yeah, dude. How are you not going to steal the pirate flag?
Well, then no one else would get to enjoy it. But they had one of two actual real pirate flags that are still around, like in there, and real gold and all the real pirate stuff.
Did it look like a real pirate flag, like Pirates of the Caribbean flag, kind of?
Yeah, I
It
think
was a
I
skull
have
and
a-
crossbones.
I
I
have
mean,
a
if it
picture
were
of
me, I'd probably try and steal treasure, not some flag. But
right?
Well, I was just thinking we can hang it on the wall in here, dude.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to take down Baby Jesus Elvis, though.
Yeah, we got a couple more cool,
Praise the Lord.
core things to put up. Baby Jesus Elvis, how you doing? But you want me to send you the picture of the flag?
Yeah, if you can.
I can do that. I think I got a picture of that flag if people care that much.
Dude, it's one of the only two. Yeah, that's
here
it right
is.
there.
Yeah, here it is.
Oh yeah, you can just do that.
Wow.
That's it.
dude,
That's
you
the one
should've
I saw.
Stole that shit.
That's what it really looked like.
no way.
Yeah, that's a real
so
one.
cool.
And they called it what did they call it? The Jolly Roger.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
One of the two remaining.
So, anyways, that was cool. Lots of gold and all of that. But you know, the thing about Florida that's a little tough is like weed is not legal there.
Really? Is it highly illegal?
Highly illegal there, and they just tried to pass it recreationally and it failed. So there's none of that going on.
Well, that doesn't matter because you don't smoke anymore.
No, I know, but it's just like, you know, that's the one major difference in culture from where I'm coming from, you know. It's like, oh, I don't know though. It's like you look at the weed industry out here and it's kind of, you know, I don't know what's going to happen with Mendo weed. It seems like it's hanging on by a thread. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's kind of hanging on by a thread, but I really think that the people of this county have done it for so long that they don't know what else to do. So like back in 2021 when the market crashed, you know, all the people that were green rushers, you know, not from the background, they're like, "Oh fuck it, we're out of here." But the old dogs, that's all they knew, they kept doing it. And a lot of them have, you know, buyers that have been coming here for decades. And those buyers don't know where to go. I mean, I don't know.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. It's just like, it just seems like I'm concerned, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm concerned that Mendocino County already blew their opportunity at like the whole legal weed thing. Like, it seems like with them keeping things small, and it's like, oh, there's this big argument, and you know, you and I have spoke at some of the meetings where it's like, oh, we're talking about doubling the size from 10,000 square feet to 20,000 square feet, which is like a half acre. And it's like, you know, there's other parts of the state that are just doing acres. And you have all of these illegal grows up in Shasta and Trinity, you know, that have like basically, you know, free slave labor from Asians that they're importing, and they're, artificially keeping down the prices. So between Southern California growing, hundreds of acres with a glass house, and then these, crazy illegal like mung grows going on up in like Shasta and Trinity, it's like it's putting Mendo in this place where it's just not really able to compete.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I feel like it's got to be more than just it's got to be more than just weed. People have got to feel like it's special, for some reason or in some way. Like,
And that's yeah.
And I really do think that we have a better climate than everybody, that we can kind of just naturally go long season, and we've got, cool, dry weather into our falls. But there is a lot of weed out there, and really what needs to happen is federal legalization.
Yeah. You think Trump will do it?
I don't know, man. I just don't see it not happening at some point in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, but I've heard that for the last 20 years.
Well,
Right?
there's one thing
I mean,
Yeah,
if
but
it-
there's been steps that have been made along the way that are like progressing it.
Like, if anybody was going to do it, don't you think Biden would have done it?
He didn't know what the fuck he was doing. What do you mean? What are you
He
talking about?
had the
dude?
auto pen, dude.
Yeah, yeah, none of that shit's valid
I would have been
anymore.
like, let me slide legalize weed under the auto pen. It's all.
This is for glaucoma, Grandpa.
Yeah, and give Drew $1 million.
But I think that what Mendo weed had going for it was the like legacy growers and the like heritage of this place. And now that doesn't really seem to matter much anymore. Now that it's legal, now that it's everywhere, now that it's,
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's still that happening. There's still those people here.
No, I'm saying, but that was like the like, oh, I got weed from Mendo, or I got weed from Humboldt. Back when we were young, it was like, yeah, we're from Mendocino. Like they associated that with growing, and now that's no longer an issue because you can get weed on the corner anywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that it's cool, but not to a point where people are going to want to pay like 3 times more for it because of where it's from. It's kind of like you can get champagne from France. Wow, France! But how many bottles of champagne are there that you're like, yeah, I'll just buy that just regular champagne shit.
Yeah.
I don't need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that same thing. I don't know though, but
Is there like a certain strain that you can like come up with that only grows in Mendocino County? That'd be cool. Something like that like like people into like.
I think that, there's breeders in the area that are always coming out with new strains and the new hype. And, like maybe you create a strain and then it gets out there and everybody has it. Well, that breeder, he just picks another seed out of the bag, sticks it in there, posts on it, or it wins an award or something.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like that's like a brewmaster's recipe. You look at, craft beer and, all these recipes that they're keeping, like Lagunitas and Pliny, and those guys are doing good. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of got to be like that. I really do think though that without all this crazy infrastructure, you can just grow really good product here in Mendocino County.
yeah,
Where other people, like, their shit's just getting scorched by the sun, or maybe they can only grow certain times a year, or maybe they're too close to the ocean or too far into the redwoods and it just gets moldy, it doesn't get enough light, so that's kind of cool. But I mean, a lot of people are popping up, mixed light greenhouses and doing good. But then again, I'm also hearing a lot of people putting a lot of money into infrastructures and just pumping it full of chemicals. When they drop a nugget that's just purple, it sounds like a rock hitting the ground, and everybody says it tastes terrible. So it's like really kind of a craft. It's hard. You can grow great product, but if you don't cure it right, nobody's going to want it. You can grow great product, but if it's the wrong strain, nobody wants it, and then every strain kind of makes you feel a little different, I guess. So some people, like in the dispensaries, Blue Dream's really popular, and OGs sometimes, or there's like different things that people are wanting. Some people want candy gas, like they're all about, runts and things that are like runts, and it's hard to grow. Like I have yet to find one that produces a lot. It's annoying, but
You think people want it because it's rarer because there's less of it because it grows so shitty, or what do you think it is?
I think it's the smell. It has a unique smell. It's it's very different.
Is there fads that like roll through each year, or is there like a constant that's like
Oh, for
always
sure.
like good and selling?
Yeah, it was like OG sour diesel back in the day, and then the cookies came out, and then candy gas or gas. Now purple got really big. Now purple's not quite as big, and I mean the legal market has always had a high demand for sativas as well, but a lot of them, I mean, they're not as strong, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like soccer mom weed or something. But
We saw that with the grapes, like a lot, like it would go through cycles, right? Where everybody was drinking, Zin or whatever, Zinfandel, and then 4 years later, everybody's drinking Merlot, or like, and so it was hard to like,
Yeah.
I think weed is just like know what's it going to be.
yeah, or like, okay, we're replanting now.
Yeah.
What are we going to we don't
3
replant
years later,
every-
we got the shit. They're like, we don't like that shit no more.
Yeah, exactly. It's like chasing unicorns.
Totally.
A really good person to check out on YouTube is a guy named Kevin Joffrey or Jodry. He's this old time Humboldt guy, and he had this YouTube channel where he did this whole thing called Meet the Breeders, and a lot of breeders from the Emerald Triangle would go on there and talk about what they're breeding, and that's when you realize, wow, like there's more to it than just like growing a bunch of pot. Like these guys are like pheno hunting and searching through all this stuff, and they give their strains out, but they don't give out their legacy seed bank, because that's what they're creating all this stuff from, and it's really interesting to hear. Like old timers talk about it. I guess apparently in the old days, we bred out a lot of good terpenes because we were afraid of getting busted, and we lost a lot of stuff. Like his big project was like the super skunk or like the skunk smell, trying to get that back. And I haven't really like followed it much lately. I kind of just like grow what the customers want. But I mean, that's definitely a good view into what's going on behind the scenes. Like, where
This is
do
current. This guy.
I'm sure he's still doing stuff. He's from New York.
Is this him here?
Yeah, that's him.
Which one, the bald guy or the guy with the beard?
No, wait, go down. I thought that was in the top left. That was him. Yeah, that's not him.
Yeah.
Jodry, I think.
Anyways, so like the big debate going on in Mendo right now is what whether you should be able to grow more or not, and this word expansion, which is you're not supposed to use, but the reality of it is everyone's like, if you want Mendo to continue to still have a cannabis culture, and not even a culture but a cannabis industry, then we are going to have to expand the amount that we're able to grow. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, and also like prices have dropped significantly.
well, that's the
right?
whole point. And you have, an illicit market in the north and a giant corporate market, growers in the south, and they're both pushing down the prices, and who's squeezing like a pimple in the middle is like Mendo. You know what I mean? Because I was just talking with somebody from LA, and they're like, yeah, I talked to Glass House. Glass House can produce a pound of high quality, I mean, relatively speaking, light depth weed for 110 pounds. And he's like, and then,
Wait, a pound for $110?
oh, excuse me, $110 a pound. So that's what Glass House corporate weed can produce a pound for.
Oh, that's
right?
what it costs them to produce a pound?
Correct.
And what's the market price for a pound right now?
Well, they could. That's the point, right? They could afford to sell it for $250 a pound, and they're doubling their money. You know what I mean? And then this guy was saying,
So there's no $4,000 pounds anymore?
Not in this country.
maybe in like
What in the fuck,
yeah,
dude?
maybe somewhere in like Africa or something.
Damn.
And then he was saying like, and people will drive right past Mendo to go to Trinity and Humboldt and these different places, because there's all these like Asians growing weed up there, and he's like, they got like slave labor. They like bring people over and don't have to pay them to work, and so they're doing the same thing. and they're dumping a bunch of chemicals and stuff. He's like, so between those two,
You don't use chemicals anymore to grow weed?
I mean, everything's kind of chemicals.
Oh.
You know? Like,
But
You
I
just
mean-
mean like over fucking.
I mean,
Like,
stuff that would
growth regulators and just like the bad shit. you
Yeah,
know?
the stuff that they test for that legal weed can't have, right? So they're testing your product to make sure it meets a certain standard and quality,
have-
right? For the legal weed, and
Is that by USDA or something? Or
I don't know
who's the governing principle of testing this weed?
no
Dude,
idea.
some of the people are saying that stuff that they're looking at just is like crazy rock hard purple, and there's like chemicals straight out of China that are outlawed that they're using.
Right.
And you drop a nug on the floor, it sounds like a rock.
Like this stuff will give you like Alzheimer's, right?
Yeah.
But it looks perfect, and they just don't give a fuck, right? And they're growing as much as they want, and so then you're down here in Mendo with a quarter-acre patch. Like it's just, I don't know, something
Hard to compete.
It's just weird to see how it seems like a no-brainer for people, but they just can't seem to get their act together. I don't know.
What is the reason why they wouldn't?
I think
Like,
it's
what do
out
they?
of,
Why do they say that's not happening right now?
I feel like a lot of people are just kind of jaded from the past, and we just kind of got to show them that it's not like that anymore.
Jaded from the past. How?
You know, just
do
like
they
all
think?
the raids and the crazy stuff going on from when it was worth a lot of money, people robbing each other and
All
Yeah.
the riffraff that comes
Yeah,
along
all the
with
riffraff.
that and the stigma that comes along with growing here and stuff.
yeah, all that's kind of gone. You know, the people that are here are not like that anymore.
And the majority of the complaints that you hear aren't based in reality. They're based out of fear. And like he's saying, we're used to, when 10 years ago you drive down, anywhere in Redwood Valley in different parts and there's weed in every backyard. Like that's gone now.
Yeah.
So these same people that were opposing legal weed because it was, everywhere in their backyard in a nuisance now have watched legalization basically eradicate all of that. And so now they're saying, well, we don't have enough water or, we spraying pesticides. And it's like, it's none of that's really the case. We have plenty of water. Like there's this whole myth that Mendocino County doesn't have, Ukiah Valley doesn't have water. And, I've talked to people who are like, we have one of the most in-depth aquifers running through the valley right underneath the Russian River that you'll find. There's plenty of water. The second thing is like,
The pears and the grapes aren't using it anymore.
that's the other thing. It's like all the other farming that was going on isn't taking place because that's already been lost and outsourced,
Yeah.
right? Other things you hear are, there's a lot of different reasons that people say, but none of it really makes sense. It's just kind of like there's these places where it does make sense. Why can we grow hundreds and hundreds of acres of grapes where you are spraying and you are, watering and in frost protecting and doing all these things, and you can't do an acre of cannabis? Some of it's like
Stigma still.
we don't want plastic, right? You hear that all the time, but it's like, well, if you could do acres, then you would row crop it like a normal crop, and you wouldn't need all of that plastic, like to try and do as many as you can because you only have as many runs as you can in 1 year because you only have this small little patch of ground,
Do they have enough people to support doing that? Like, does the county have their shit together enough to expand the?
That's going to be the battle that takes place. The question is going to be, in my opinion, is it too little, too late? Honestly, even if they
shit the bed on the whole tourism cannabis thing. That's gone,
sure,
right? But
Yeah.
how do you sustain the community with?
but that didn't really take off anywhere. Do you know anywhere where people go to canna tourism?
I mean, people go to do that for grapes. Like, why couldn't you pair them? It's a beautiful place. Like, if there was tasting and sales direct from farm to consumer,
Yeah.
you could throw some good parties. Everybody would be having a good time.
But you're right. It's the stigmatism of it. Maybe people just still aren't used to it because some of the people up there, I don't think that they really know why they're against it. They just are against it.
Exactly.
And that's what it really seems to be. And I think
That's why we got to get your brother on some sort of council or some position in government so that
I
he
feel
can
like
make
our-
change on the inside.
I feel like our board of supervisors is for it.
I mean,
Don't you think?
there's certain members of it that are, I think for the most part, the majority of them would be for it. But the question is, how loud are the voices against it? And there's a lot of people that support it, but it's hard for them all to show up and have their voices be heard. So that's kind of what we've been organizing and working on, is getting people to understand that, it's like, I don't know. The point that I made was that, look, the Fetzers and the Barras and, some of these people, they all, had an opportunity to build their businesses and make their name and state their claim in Mendocino County and in other places with grapes. And nobody limited them to 10 acres on their 50-acre ranches. How would you build a brand and fill wine bottles if you're only allowed to grow, 1 acre of grapes on 50 acres of land? You know what I mean?
Well, and they're going to have to figure out something to do with all these vineyards properties that aren't going to be able to sell. I mean,
Yeah, your family's in that business.
yeah, and we haven't sold a grape in 2 years. So what are we going to do with the land that's for ag?
Right.
It seems like it's kind of a no-brainer to shift over. I mean, it's a cycle of things. Like the first thing was the logging here, right? And then that dried up, went away. Pears dried up, went away. Grapes, same thing is happening. Like all the little farmers are getting
Right. And you have, there's this whole thing of like, oh, we don't want corporate cannabis, but it's like, it's not corporate cannabis. Allowing people to grow more on their land isn't equal to corporations coming in. They've already kind of thought they were going to do that and got washed out. Now you have a handful of people that are surviving that have the potential to be the future entrepreneurs of the county, right? Of the industry, to make a name for themselves, for the county, and have it be something that supplies an income to the economy. Because another thing I'm talking about is our property values in Mendocino County are getting decimated, and the impact that has on the amount of tax revenue brought in is huge. I mean, every patch of land in Mendocino County was worth $450, $650, $750, per parcel. And the reason it was that is because people were growing, illicit cannabis on it, and they were able to make a couple $100,000 a year. That is completely gone. Mm-hmm. There is hardly anybody growing illegally on that scale, that small of a scale. Right. If they're growing illegally, they're doing it really gnarly. Very, those are the ones where the environmental impact is really happening. So if you have all of these parcels of land that are going from $450, $550 down to $200, $150 per parcel, you can't keep taxing them at, that 1.1% interest rate of, they're paying $4,000 to $6,000, per parcel in property tax to the county. Now you're going to be getting $1,000, $1,500. What's that impact going to have? You look at all the other businesses that thrived on cannabis, all of those are affected. Yeah. Whether you're a hairstylist, whether you do lashes, nails, restaurants, selling ATVs, cars, shovels, everything, a lot of it. And that opportunity is here still if we can figure out how to transition it into a larger scale operation for the growers that are here. But I'm seeing, a lot of licensed farms come on the market for sale at prices that seem fair, $1 million, 1.1, 1.2 million. Perfect farms, just how you would want to see and buy a cannabis farm, and they're sitting on the market. They're not selling. And because
people have other options of where to go, or because it doesn't pencil out?
Because it's too much money to invest in a business that's, if you can't grow,
iffy.
If you can't scale a business, it doesn't make money, right? Like, it only makes a certain amount. If the prices are coming down, you can't scale, that's the challenge that we have, as a county, that people got to decide what they want to do. And if it's not cannabis, then what is it? Right? So I don't know. It's got people riled up, and people, I think, in general are a little riled up right now.
Totally.
We got old
Why?
Trump.
What's happening?
We got old Trump in there, dude. People
Trump.
are having meltdowns. How about, dude? I drive a Tesla, and I went from being like,
Has anybody vandalized it yet?
no, but remember, people used to send me memes of like a bunch of gay guys being like, hi, and then it said like Tesla drivers underneath it, right? Justin Capri sent me one of those. And it was like Tesla owners, and they're like, hi. Till like now like I might as well wrap that thing in American flag and like have a bald eagle follow me down the highway on my Tesla. It's just so funny, dude, how
it shifts.
that instantly, like within 3 months.
You're an asshole now.
Yeah, dude.
You used to be gay, now you're an asshole.
Shit about a Tesla.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
I think it's pretty funny and ridiculous how quickly the people turned on Tesla and like started burning down their fucking factory or the cars, or you know what I mean, all the vandalism that's happening with that shit.
Right. Dude, like everybody who had a coexist sticker on their back of their car, or you know what I'm talking about, with like in each letter was a different religious symbol.
Yeah.
Now they're all like, like boo,
So strange.
It's gotten so weird, dude.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
What the hell's happening?
You think
Joe?
Trump's doing a good job?
Well, he's saying and doing all the right things, but I mean, we'll see in the end if it pans out. He could just be like it could just be gang on gang violence out there, and he's just a different gang.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
That's the thing. It's like a crapshoot. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But I mean, come on. I think everybody can agree that Joe Biden wasn't making any decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who was running the country?
Yeah, the auto pin. But the thing is like you do start seeing Trump like
Auto pin.
bombing Yemen and stuff, and you're like, hey, wait a minute, dude. You know what I mean?
Is he bombing?
Yeah,
people?
he was bombing Yemen. It's like, what are you doing, dude? He's like, he's got to get that deal with Saudi Arabia and Israel done. And they're like, well, we want some bombs dropped here. You know what I mean? So I think that's what's going on there.
Hey, can you look up, Dongle, what the find a credible source for Trump's approval rating currently? I saw this thing that CNN had posted about Trump's approval rating being the highest that it's ever been, like ever, like from the last time he was in office to when he was running to like now.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's credible or what. But
Well, there you go. Boom.
looks like it is happening, huh?
Yeah, he slid down a little, but that's probably when he started bombing Yemen. I don't know, dude. Crazy.
That's instant.
You're right though, Joey. It's like it's crazy because it just seems like you don't know if everything's a trick. Like was Trump actually the answer to your prayers, or was he just the next side of the sandwich that they wanted to feed you?
Exactly.
And like, you know what I mean?
Well, what I thought about when he first ran, and I voted for. Well, I don't know if I think I voted for him. Is that like this whole system needs to change, and I think that like he is our best option for the catalyst to change, and that like either he's gonna burn the fucking whole thing to the ground, and it's something needs to happen, and I think he's the catalyst to making something happen, either good or bad, but like after that is what I'm looking at. You know what I'm saying?
It's a good point.
So it's like I'm like.
And if you're really gonna make a change, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, I was done.
But if you're really gonna make a change, like how hard would that be? Like you really gonna have to twist some nipples to get that done. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna have to be as clunky as it is here, like tariffs and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, after what's happened, there's going to be some pain before you feel better. It's just like getting a tooth pulled. Like the shit sucking, it hurts. You get that thing yanked out, and then you start feeling better.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's sure shaking things up quite a bit, to say the least.
I sent you, JJ, I sent you a video. If you bring that up on YouTube, or you could just go to it. Like, it's Jesse on Fire. He posted something. You guys ever watch Jesse on Fire? Yeah, this. Start that at 1 minute and 50 seconds in, and maybe put that microphone on so people can hear it. Dude, I got to sign you into the paid version, homie. Jeez, dude. Yeah. Start this at like 1 minute 50 seconds.
We couldn't rescue them. We had to rely. Well, it puts it in perspective that, like, the whole
Dude,
world's
listen
a
to
stage. You might think that you know what you're looking at. You don't know what you're looking at, dude. Okay? You might think you know why things are happening. You don't know why things are happening. Unless you think through, like, if you understand what the big boys' end game is, then you start to understand what you're looking at. And I wanted to show you guys this first. This is Aaron Russo talking about a conversation that he had with one of the Rockefellers, and you'll understand why this is important after we watch.
Well, he was at the house one night, and we were talking, and he started laughing. He said, Aaron, what do you think women's liberation was about?
Women's liberation.
And I said, I'm pretty conventional thinking about it at that point. I said, I think it's about women having the right to work, getting equal pay with men, just like they won the right to vote, you know? And he started to laugh. He said, you're an idiot. And I said, why am I an idiot? He said, let me tell you what that was about. We, the Rockefellers, funded that. We funded women's lib, you know? And we're the ones who got all over the newspapers and television, the Rockefeller Foundation. He says, and you want to know why? He says, there were two primary reasons. And they were, one reason was we couldn't tax half the population before women's lib. And the second reason was, now we get the kids in school at an early age. We can indoctrinate the kids how to think. It breaks up the family. The kids start looking at the state as the family, as the school, as the officials, as their family, not as the parents teaching them. And so those are the two primary reasons for women's lib, which I thought up to that point was a noble thing. You know, when I saw their intentions behind it, where they were coming from when they created it, the thought of it, I saw the evil behind what I thought was a noble adventure.
The reason why
Okay, that's good. You can stop that.
Yeah.
Okay, now, JJ, while we're talking about it, look up Bill Maher, Gavin Newsom talking about teachers in school. If that clip comes up. It might be kind of hard to find there. Newsom labels Democratic Party toxic. See if you can find that there. But yeah, right there. Bill Maher exposes Gavin Newsom.
So what do you say to people who say, well, this sounds all very good, but Governor, you were the poster boy for a lot of this stuff? I see today the Trump administration they talked about, I don't know if this is true, but they talked about the fact that California had a rule that schools cannot be required to notify parents if their kids in school have changed their gender, their pronouns. So what do you say to people who say, well, this sounds all very good, but Governor, you were the poster boy for a lot of this stuff?
For the Democratic Party being toxic. He doesn't give his response. Well, anyways, you don't need to, but he goes on to say, like, this just slimy answer about how it's not the teacher's job to snitch on the parents. And he's like, what are you talking about, teachers snitching on kids? Like, these are the parents of the kids.
Yeah.
Like, you're not snitching on the kids. But he's talking about how basically the teachers are the ones indoctrinating the kids into confusing their gender and talking about gender and all of these things. And you listen to that, and then you watch that video that we played before that where, you know, the Rockefellers are like, the whole women's liberation was about us being able to tax everybody instead of half the population. And having kids go from being with the mother to being easily indoctrinated by the state. And now you got the state confusing the shit out of people. And you start to see this stacked agenda like line up. You know what I mean?
Are you sending your kids to school? Public school?
I'm gonna hopefully get my kids into the junior academy on the south end of town. But didn't Trump just totally dismantle the education system.
Well, that's exactly
Department
right.
of Education. So now it goes back to the states.
Yeah.
Instead of the federal government being in control of everything, it goes
Well,
back to the states.
I would think we're still in trouble with the whole
that's-
LGBTQ. Did I say it right?
That's my whole point about Florida looking really nice.
yeah, right.
I mean,
Besides the weed.
besides the weed. But I quit weed, so I'll just be a pirate.
I told you,
dude.
bro, it's not a problem for you.
I truly feel like if you have a good relationship with your kids, they're gonna listen to you and not to their dumbass teacher.
Right, but there's a ton of people who don't have that good relationship with their kids.
Yeah, and it's probably because
You know,
they're
and those are your
slaves to
kids'
the
friends.
dollar, and you know,
And those become your kids' friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Those become the people that your kids
Yeah,
go to
right.
school with, and
Never
the
thought about
influences that they have, and the friends, and the talks, and the drama, and all the stuff that's happening at school that they're all taking in. You know, I agree with you too, though. I mean, like, you know, good parents make good kids, and
the other
sometimes
the other thing they go
not
on
the case.
to talk about is like how many, you know, because Newsom is saying the Democratic Party is toxic, but then you just heard Maher say, well, yeah, you're number two. Like number one would be Kamala, and then maybe Tim Walz, and then Gavin Newsom. Like you're third.
what is Kamala doing right now?
Who cares? Not much.
No, but I mean, is she a senator? Is she like does she hold a position?
I don't think so. I think right now she's not in politics, but we're talking about
Oh,
previous
run for the
politicians,
presidency?
just people that have tarnished the Democratic brand, right? That have made it
gotcha.
toxic. And so you have all these people fleeing the states,
Yeah,
like hundreds of thousands. So what's happening
and
why
businesses.
what they're all panicking about is that our amount of representatives that you get based on population, right?
Yeah.
You know, they're going to start moving to red states, and the red states are going to get way more representatives in Congress, and basically Democrats won't be able to win another election. And so the whole thing was they knew that was happening, that everybody was flooding to red states, and that's why they opened the borders and wanted to let so many people in over the borders, because that was going to artificially keep the population high enough for them to maintain power in Congress.
Big plans.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm afraid to say something too crazy on your guys' podcast.
Shoot it.
but,
Shoot. Go ahead. Shoot.
Yes or no? Did Israel fund the Democratic Party?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is
I'll
there
t-
a bunch of stuff, weird stuff going on there?
I'll tell you what, though, the Trump's doing a lot of Israel's bidding right now, so I'm a little I'm a little nervous about that.
Well, didn't he come out and just say, well, yeah, if you want help, we're just going to completely control the whole scene? Is that true?
Well, he said that about the Gaza
Oh,
Strip,
Gaza. That's different.
but when you see like, okay, yeah, bombing in Yemen was one. Like another is the Epstein files
That haven't came out yet.
that haven't came out, and it kind of turns out that maybe Epstein was a Mossad agent, like, and all that blackmail was going on by Israel, and that Israel actually is blackmailing
Whoa,
everybody, and
But
that
le-
if that all came out, like, and
that would be fucked.
right, and like Joe's saying, well, who do you think is paying for these guys' elections?
Yeah.
Who's funding
Well,
the elections?
And it's kind of like getting jumped into a gang, I feel like. It's like if you're going to get people that are going to do like really bad stuff, you got to have some fucking dirt on them. So you got to go look for some scumbags. You got to get them on an island. You got to get them, get videos of them doing stuff, and then you own them.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of that happened. And I don't know too much about the Epstein files, but maybe they didn't come out because they're still trying to arrest people. I don't know. I don't know.
No, here's why they're not coming out, because they're all figuring out that all of these people being blackmailed, like, it was all done by Israel. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but there's like a lot of things about how, potentially they're the ones controlling it all. And if they're the ones that were controlling Epstein, and then they're also behind the scenes controlling other, politicians and, corporations and government, like, none of it's going to come out. That information's way more valuable to a billionaire if nobody knows about it. Once it's all out, they can't blackmail people anymore.
Yeah, I got some more questions for you, Drew. Because because I'm gonna be honest. Like, I have a hard time following politics day to day and knowing all this stuff. But number one, like, I don't have anything against Jews. I know Jewish people that are great. But why are we so concerned with the Jews? Why are there so many Jewish people in Hollywood? And why is Hollywood pushing this narrative and making people think a certain way? Like, when you see it in all the movies and on TV, you know, it's like they're like social media censoring stuff that you don't want people to see, and then showing them stuff that's like people being gay because you want them to see it, or, you know, whatever the narrative is that they want. Like, why is that all connected? I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know either, and I do know it comes down to a word. I don't think it's Jews, because when we're talking about Israel, we're not just talking about all the Jews. We're talking about a state that was created, and it comes down to Zionism. And I think Zionism doesn't necessarily have to do with Jewish people, although they're tied together. But Zionism is its own way of basically, I think, depopulating. And the more you poke at it, like, bring this up. If you can bring up Jimmy Dore, Israel prime ministers' names are fake. See if you can find that. It's going to be on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, see, it's on tour in Hartford,
Fast forward to the
Connecticut,
beginning.
Syracuse, Atlantic City.
Yeah, this guy.
Has a fake name. Did you know that?
Start it back just a little bit.
Do you know?
So this is
And
this is all the prime ministers of Israel changed their name to sound more Middle Eastern. This is a trip.
because they didn't sound Middle Eastern enough. You think I'm kidding? Let's watch a little bit of
I
this.
show you what I'm about to show you. Your mind will be blown. You're going to be blindsided. Every single Israeli prime minister has a fake name. Did you know that? I was just talking about Ben Gurion. Do you know what his original name is? It's Gruen. Gruen. He changed it to make it sound more Jewish and sound more Middle Eastern. Do you know what Netanyahu's real name is? It's not Netanyahu, it's Milkovsky. I swear to God, go and look it up. You'll find Milkovsky. That's his real name. These are, remember what Israelis are. Israelis are European Jews. They don't come from Palestine, but they want you to make you believe. They want to make believe and make you believe that they come from this area, that they are indigenous to the land, that they're so Jewish, right? Even though they have no connection. So they changed the names. Here's another one. Moshe Sharat. His name is Chertok originally. You've got Levi Eshkol. Eshkol was Shklonik. So he changed it from Shklonik to Eshkol. Then you have Yigal Alon. His original name, Peikovitz. Golda Meir, Israel's first female prime minister. Her real name is not Golda Meir. It's Mabovich. Mabovich.
Golda my ass.
More like Mad Bitch. We have Yitzhak
Wow.
Rabin.
Okay, so
Yeah.
His
what
name
the
is
hell
not-
does that mean? Why are they're doing that?
What's
so
the
that
point? They're like European Jews that have been transported to Israel, and then they want
this
to
whole
sound more
fucking
Middle
shit
Eastern,
is
so they sound
stupid.
Hey JJ, you're doing the fact checking here.
allegedly.
Kind of. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
He's trying. God bless him.
I heard something on the tinfoil hat, and I'm not entirely sure if it's true, but is Israel the biggest gay country in the world? Like, is it the most gay people per capita? Can we look that up?
Wait, this is what we're gonna fact check. Last time we couldn't get him to pull up. We what are you laughing at over there, dude? What? Last time we couldn't get him to pull up.
I'm just saying, you know, the whole LGBTQ thing and the Democrats and being funded by Israel and in fact, I think Pornhub and OnlyFans came out of Israel as well.
They're owned by, I think, Jewish people.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know what that's about either, but it's kind of strange.
Did you see Mel Gibson's running for governor?
Of what?
California.
Oh, let's go.
Oh,
Let's go.
let's go.
Anybody
Look,
but
yeah.
Clinton.
Anybody but.
Wasn't he in a movie entitled Conspiracy Theory?
I don't know if
Maybe.
he's in that.
I'm pretty sure he was. And like,
Let's see, is he running for governor? Yeah.
Oh
Republican
yeah,
governor.
dude.
Leading Republican candidate. Oh snap! That's what we need.
Dude.
We need another Schwarzenegger.
We need Gibson in there.
His house burned down too. He's pissed.
Yeah, I bet, dude.
I would be too.
He's like, this shit is nuts. Look at him.
Look at that handsome devil.
Look at that handsome guy. God.
Although he was
Dang.
drunk ranting about Jews, didn't he have some?
Yeah,
drunk
he
rant about Jews.
He
we'll
didn't he
be
do
here-
that? Didn't he do that movie? That Christ, the Passion of the Christ?
Yeah, but that's just the story of. Well, I guess Jews whipping Jesus' ass. Jesus was a Jew. Did you watch that movie? Ooh,
No, dude, I never saw it.
brutal, dude.
Yeah. Didn't you take Matt to that movie?
Did I? I think I did actually.
And he was puking all over the place or something?
Yeah,
and
like nodding off or something, dude. Passing out in his chair.
watching Passion of the Christ and people are crying and he's fucking throwing
Jesus
up.
got
in
his ass beat for
fucking
3
Pepsi
hours.
cup.
He's like, I'm gonna get another beer. I think what a lot of it comes down to is depopulation. I think that a lot of this, like whatever we want to say, like I do believe there's a globalist agenda to depopulate. That the majority of people are looked at as cattle, as chattel. That's why we have social security numbers. That's why, when you hear them say like, "Oh, we wanted to tax half the people." Well, what do you mean? When in the Rockefellers, they're not the government, are they? The government taxes people. So how does that make sense unless they're controlled? And you start to realize, like the lady that we had on the podcast who was saying, like
Paula,
which was an American national, they were saying like basically the debt that we borrow, how we have this $1 trillion debt, 36 trillion that, Trump and Elon are trying to shave, a couple trillion off, that basically that money is borrowed based on the future taxes that you and your kids and your kids' kids will make. So they'll lend money based on your kids working off that debt. And then you see them wasting this money, like trillions and billions and millions of dollars going to all kinds of things that sound goofy on paper, but what they really are is just enriching the pockets of bureaucrats and crooks. And they're borrowing it based on the fact that your kids are going to pay that debt back through taxing. And so if we need more taxes to pay the debt, to borrow more money, to give to, corporations and things like that, what do?
Print more money.
Women's liberation, gay rights, all of this stuff that seems like a really good idea. Don't get me wrong, I'm for women's liberation.
yeah, but it's like a good idea capitalized by a bad.
Well, you don't think like the beneficiaries of a lot of these fraudulent organizations are people that were just trying to line their pockets? I mean, if you'd been listening to the Doge reports, it's like so much money left the country or like went random places, not even tracked. Like, where did the money go? Who got it? Like, I heard something about like electric car charging stations, like $1 billion, and they built like 4 or 5 of them. I mean, the list is long, and I don't really know.
And we're just fucking hoping and praying to baby freaking Elvis here that the two
baby Jesus.
billionaires that we have in charge of all this shit are on the right side.
But think about this. Like, if they can get a huge divide, between the wealthy and the poor, like basically no middle class, then they totally control the herd. There's nobody to question them or to
Right.
stand up to them. And I think that's what they want. And every dollar they spend makes my dollars and your dollars worth less money.
But here's the thing, Joseph. You don't have to be rich to stand up to them. You have to be undivided. And so what you have, and I heard someone who claims to be a seventh generation Illuminati. You can look him up on Instagram. It's was it like 5 Angel? I think is what he's called, 5 something Angel, on Instagram. 5-headed angel, I think that's what it is. But he's basically saying is like all the rich people. There's like, let's say there's in the world there's 7 people standing on the table, and underneath the table there's 100 people on their knees, Well, they can't knock the table up because they're all on their knees. Yeah, this is the guy. But if those people underneath the table, all they have to do is stand up and they'll knock all of those people off. But the problem is we're all divided over this gay stuff and the rights and the this. And so,
so that's
they keep
their
us
job.
off. That's
Is to
their
keep
job.
us-
Yeah, and who's pushing
separate.
that agenda, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like what people see on TV, they're like, oh, yeah, you know, like, just like that. And anything on social media, if it was censored or like, there's honestly anything you want to find on the internet, you will find. You know, if you
Totally.
want to believe unicorns are real,
Go
you'll
up.
find it. If you want to find mermaids, you'll find it. Believe me and Hazel have found it.
Mermaids are
Like-
real? Is that what you're saying? That's awesome, dude.
I mean, you want to get JJ on it, we can, but just take my word for it.
Click
Yeah.
on the one to the right of next to the grilled cheese sandwich there, down to the right. Yeah. I'm not sure if this is the one.
this is an interesting fella.
You can't show his face. This is,
Completely open cast
there's rules.
from Barcelona, Spain, in beautiful Europa.
This
home
is
of the
the one.
Euro.
You can click on some of this guy's stuff though. Why the devil mask? How about that? This guy shows you videos inside
What up, everybody?
Bohemian Grove.
Angel Dust. Had a very powerful meeting today and spent a lot of time with one of my mentees. Wanted to share essentially what we came to around the darkness in the world and our experience with the darkness in the world. So I get asked a lot, why the devil masks? Why talk of dark things? And I think it really comes down to this idea of being able to have invited the demons in for tea, right? This is an old concept in Buddhism. This is the very essence of shadow work. If you don't recognize the power of the darkness, if you don't realize this idea that this thing's coming for you whether you like it or not, and you can pretend it doesn't exist, but while you're getting spiritually stronger,
So he's supposed to be an
getting just as
Illuminati?
strong.
Yeah, so he claims to be a 7th generation Illuminati, and the Illuminati by law has to tell you what they're doing, but they do it in a way in which you don't realize through symbolism, and ritual and stuff like that. Like,
Movies?
what's that?
Through movies, they say?
Totally.
Through movies, through symbolism, like a lot of the halftime shows that you see where, like, pull up Rihanna halftime.
No, don't ruin Rihanna for me.
That's just one that, and you can start to see like satanic symbolism, right?
Whoa.
Just click on that and just think about this.
Is this the stupid one where she was like, I'm going to have a special guest, and then she was pregnant?
I mean, maybe.
Welcomes you to the Apple. What you wanted?
You see the red and white, you know what I mean? It's just this kind of stuff that happens.
Yeah, see, she's pregnant. That was her special guest. What a loser halftime show that was.
Do you
You know what
remember
the
the
best halftime show was? Michael fucking Jackson.
Yeah.
The greatest halftime show of all time.
What happened to him?
Nothing, dude. He's the king.
No way.
Yeah, dude.
What?
Yeah,
How did he do
dude.
that?
JJ was like 3 years old when this happened.
This shit is so good.
It's crazy.
Boom. Look at that guy, dude.
He
what
was
a
a
phenomenal
amazing
He kind of
freaking
performer.
performer, dude.
kind of got a Pee Wee Herman vibes though, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like
Oh, and then he's blowing. He's right there.
How
on
did
the
he get
stage.
there?
How
Oh,
did
that
he get
wasn't
there?
him up there.
Though, I saw this thing that they were like, he pauses right here when the very first thing he does is he pops up out of this stage and he pauses, and the producer of the halftime show was like, "Come on," and Michael Jackson was like, "I'm gonna pause for as long as I want." And he pauses for literally like a minute and a half, I think, or some like crazy number where he's just standing there and just building. Yeah. Building all this stuff. Gets there and stands there and just looks at everybody and builds the excitement for so long. And everybody's like freaking out and being behind the scenes, you know?
Dang. Look at that stadium. Look how
He's just
you know how much
standing there,
bigger they
dude.
are now. Like all the way domes and
What a gangster.
the producer's like, "Come on, man!
Yeah, come on, Michael. Come on, Michael." And he just lets it build, dude. What a G. Look at it. For days, dude.
Okay, now
The band's back there like, fuck, when are we going to play again?
They're waiting for his signal, dude. When he takes off the glasses, that's the signal. He's still standing there.
dude, his nose is getting smaller and smaller. He's like anti-Pinocchio.
Yeah, Propecia my ass. What did he have?
Oh yeah,
Something.
He had a lot of money to pay plastic surgery.
Still standing there like a mannequin, dude. And people are going fucking crazy.
Didn't something happen to him in a Pepsi commercial where he burnt his face?
Oh. He moved his head to the other side. This is fucking nuts. The halftime show of the Super Bowl, the biggest stage in the world. He just taking it all in. Oh. There we go. And it starts.
Pretty legit.
Dude. What a gangster. Look at that chick he's got shredding.
You got to.
Look at that hair.
Oh my God. Michael Jackson is so good, dude. Look at those people going nuts.
He's like, I told you miss me when I'm gone.
Oh, me.
It's like David Bowie playing guitar.
Dude. So good.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Wow, dude.
All right.
He wasn't no Illuminati, dude.
No, but that Illuminati wanted him dead, dude. That's why he went through all that.
He was just really famous and from a really young age, and that fucked him all up.
Yeah, dude.
Poor guy.
His dad was doing bad things.
Yeah, dude.
Well, here we are. We're still on planet Earth, man.
That's right. Good place to be.
Living in America. Living in America.
Hey, did you ever watch Coming to America 2?
No.
Yeah, don't.
I think I put it on. It was on for like 3 minutes. I was all, nope.
Yeah.
Can't ruin it.
I did the same thing with Burt Kreischer's new special.
Comedy special?
Yeah.
Is it good?
No.
Not at all.
I mean,
You like Burt Kreischer?
I don't even know who that is.
Okay.
do you like Tom Segura?
I don't know who that is either.
Oh man, I
Is
gotta
Two
turn
Bears
you on.
One Cave still a podcast?
Yeah,
You still watch it?
yeah. Oh, I don't watch it. I listen to it.
Listen to it?
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah. It's he's like trying too hard or something. Like it's like overacted.
He always has been.
Yeah, but it's like worse or something. You know, like it's overdone.
I've never been a huge fan of Burt, and the laugh thing that he does is just a deal breaker for me.
terrible.
So you know, I don't know.
Well, shit, fellas.
Been fun. Has it been real fun, Joe?
It's been a good time.
You got any more questions for Drew?
Yeah. Anything else you want to say?
Do you think Michael Jackson did it? I mean, we just talked about what an amazing performer he is.
What with the boys?
Yeah, I mean, there's that whole thing put out. I don't know what to believe either. I'd like to think it's not true.
Well,
I
like
don't
you're
know.
saying, Joe.
Or
Nowadays,
what if they swapped him with somebody else at the end or something?
He's a clone.
No,
You know?
dude. Nowadays, though, anything you want to believe, you can look up and see.
That's right.
You can look up the whole argument for why he didn't do it and all the stuff that goes along with that. And then you can look up the argument for why he did do it and all that stuff's there. So how the fuck are we supposed to know shit from fuck?
You don't, man. I think you just gotta, lead with your heart and do your best. Because it's crazy out there. Not get caught up in all the, oh, I'm selling my Tesla. I see bumper stickers in the Bay Area coming back.
I might buy a Tesla if they're going real cheap.
They are, dude. The resale value on them is dog shit.
Yeah, I
I
can use
was
a
like gonna get rid of
self-driving
mine,
car.
and then this thing happened. Like, well, I guess I'm keeping it because you can't.
It'll come back around, dude.
But what happens when
These
you jump
people
in
come
that thing and it drives yourself directly to jail? You know?
I know. I keep a little thing in there to break the glass. Hopefully, the
yeah, right.
bulletproof glass. No, it's a cage.
I'm sure you can.
No, I love Elon. No, please. Like, that's the reason why. Dude, have you seen this? Like, Elon's talking about like arrest all Democrat billionaires. Remember, I told you billionaires are going to war. Dude, the Tesla stock is like $140.
Was that low?
Yeah, I don't know. You're not gonna find it on CNN. Yeah. Anyways, dude, the billionaires are going to battle, dude. Elon Musk calls for the arrest of those that claim are funding anti-Tesla protests. Billionaire Democrats.
Hey, it's interesting times, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let's just sit back and watch.
All right,
Take
man.
care of our own.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Joe. Good times.
All right, good time.